formula that we're given there. Everyone got that? Consider the variable average open to buy and answer the following question. So again, that is the variable that we're going to be working with. So what I would just do is just copy it over to another sheet and you just work with it by itself. Could we just use the Excel formula? You couldn't use this. Okay, average open to buy, compute the average and standard deviation of this variable. That is just standard. You just use your average function and your standard deviation function there. Then just average of the entire column. That's to get the average, standard deviation, and note the dot S because we're working with the sample data to get your standard deviation. So that's the answer to your average and the answer to your standard deviation. Then the next question, consider all the values of that larger than 34,000 as outliers. What is the effect of these outliers on the average and standard deviation of this variable? Now you want to see if you remove all values that are larger than 34,000, what's going to happen to the values that you just calculated? So that is the answers that we had there. I'm just going to paste values. So now what you can then do is you can just sort this from smallest to largest, or largest. So yeah, you just sort it from smallest to largest then, or largest to smallest, whatever you want to do. And then you just calculate the average and the standard deviation, excluding these values there. So you just sort it, you find where the 4,000 mark is. It will even be easier if you sort it. Let's see if we do it from largest to smallest, and it is at the top. If you select it all and you sort it from largest to smallest, then those are at the top there. So now you know you're just going to calculate the average and the standard deviation without those values. And then you just exclude those. And then you see there that both the average and the standard deviation, they decrease. So then that is the option. If outliers are removed from the data, the standard deviation will decrease. So that was option 2. The average and standard deviation will decrease. Yeah. It's calculated with the values. Consider the variable attrition flag. Again, you just copy the variable and you're going to use another variable in it as well. So then, how many clients are there in the data set? Clients terminated their credit account, so how many are attrited in this variable there? So again, you just use your filter, sort and filter, you put on your filter there, and you just select the one that you want to see. And you just select them all, and then at the bottom it will show you a count. So there it is 151. The answer to that question is 151. Where do you find the A1? It's just where we cancel the credit. Cool. The next question, select the correct bar chart. Again, we're working with a bar chart from the options below that displays the percentages of clients that cancel their credit account and percentage that do not cancel their credit account. So again, from how you read the question, you can see they only asked for how. So again, it's a multiple choice question. You kind of see where you can immediately eliminate some questions. So the easiest way how I would do it is a multiple choice question. You always work with the process of elimination, see what is impossible, delete that, and then you go from there. So they ask select the correct bar chart that displays the percentage of clients that cancel their credit account and the percentage that did not cancel their credit account. If you look at it like that, you can kind of see that this one won't be an option. So they didn't ask it per education level. The education level variable wasn't mentioned at all. So it won't be this one. So now immediately, without even doing anything in Excel, you cut down your option from 4 to 3. So now you just need to see what the percentages are. So here, attrited and existing, so who canceled and who didn't cancel. So now you just need to see what the correct values are for each variable. So then again, percentage of clients that canceled and didn't cancel. If you look at it, you see this one says this one is 100%. It can't be, because then if you add these up, it's going to be 115%. So again, by not even doing anything, you can cancel out that one as well. So now you just need to see what the correct values are here. And you already answered in the previous question that 151 of them are the cancelled ones. So now you just see how many there are in total. You just do everything. You know there's 949 in total. So now how much is 151 divided by the 949 that is in total, that is 15.91%. So of the treated customers, 15.91% of them. That one, so then you know it won't be that one because this one has to be 15.91. So then your correct answer is option C. Another question. Calculate the average of the average utilization ratio for each group of the attrition flag variable, i.e. for existing customers and attrited customers. So then again, you can just use the filter then. So then just filter it so that you can see one of them. And then you just select them all. So this is just for the attrited ones, and you see that bottom, the average is then 0.17006. So that is the average state. I just wanted to note that if you do this, where you filter it and then you put the average function, you're not going to get the right answer. If I then just use the average function and I select everything, what you're going to see what happens is it goes from B10 up to B950. So it selects everything from B10. So B10, 11, 12, everything up to 950. Even the ones that are existing customers is going to be included in this calculation. So if you see there, the previous answer that we had was 17 point something or 0.17. So this is not the right answer. Everyone fine with that distinction? So if you just use the average on this here, you will find the wrong answer. Everyone, you see that? Are you not? No. Excel, if you want to go, say you're going from a cell to another cell, it denotes it with the colon there. So what this means is it's calculating the average from cell B10 up to cell B950. But you see here, B10, 11, 12, up to 20 isn't included here. So the only ones that we want to include is B10, 20, 26, 47, 55, 58. And this formula includes everything. So that's why. So what you want to do rather is you just select the column that you filtered, and you can see there at the bottom, it always gives you those little values there. So you see the little average there at the bottom. So that's 0.17066. That is in the average that you get there. So just note that little thing where Excel can catch out there. And select existing customer, and you just select it all again. And if you look at the bottom there, that's that 0.2. That is the average case. 5. Consider the variables credit limit and average utilization ratio. Remove the observations from these two variables where average utilization ratio is equal to 0, i.e. keep the data equal to 0. Keep the data from the clients that at least utilize their credit card account, using only the data where average utilization ratio is not equal to 0. Make a scatter plot of the credit limit on the x-axis and the ratio on the y-axis, and then select the figure that you want. Okay, cool. So first you need to go get those two variables and remove the one that isn't 0. So again, what I would do, you copy the variables that you're working with over to the new sheet. And then what you can do now, you select everything, and you're going to sort it, and then just delete the ones that aren't 0. So you're going to go custom sort. I want to sort it according to average utilization ratio from smallest to largest. Then you see here, all of these ones are 0, so I'm just going to remove all of them. So then you just delete them all, and then you just create a scatter plot with these two variables. Select both columns, insert, scatter plot. That is the scatter plot that you want there. So then now you're going to go see if you can find that one there. Okay, you can see with option A is with the zeros on. So then option C and option B are completely different from what you got. So the correct answer is option B. Consider the variable total quantity. Construct a frequency distribution for this variable using the classes, and make a relative percentage polygon of that variable. Select the correct figure. There's a couple of things with the relative percentage polygon, the relative frequency polygon. Yeah. You can immediately. Did you guys notice that you could immediately see which one was the right one? You didn't even have to go to Excel to construct the frequency distribution. From the graphs, you could see which one was the right one. Was everyone clear on that? You didn't even have to do anything in Excel. Everyone good with that? Okay, you are. So your relative frequency polygon is the reason. I don't remember if when we did frequency distributions in Excel, we added an empty class at the top and an empty class at the bottom that had a value of 0 in its frequency, and the bottom one had a value of 0 in its frequency. That is when we construct our frequency, our relative frequency or percentage polygons, you have to close it up. It has to be a closed function so that it can be called a polygon. So this one here, option D, it isn't even a polygon because it's not closed. It's not a closed opening. So that doesn't even qualify as a polygon. And the option, if you look at option B, so that one you immediately cancel out. If you look at option B, I don't know what's going on there. It's in the negative there. That is just also immediately wrong. So it won't be option B. You can scratch that one out as well. And then you know that the empty class that we created at the bottom will have a frequency of 0. So you know it's going to start at 0 there. So the fact that that one starts there makes that one is also wrong. So that is C is also not the one. So the correct answer is then going to be A. Consider the efficient flag and card category variables. Make a side-by-side bar chart of the percentage of clients that cancel their credit account for each card category respectively. Select the correct options below. Again, process of elimination. There are side-by-side bar charts that cancel for each card category respectively. So then, kind of from the start, you can see this one is a bit different in us, like you're making it for each card, so making a chart for each card category respectively. So then your category is your most important variable there. So the blue, gold, and silver. So that part of the sentence there, transfer the credit card for each card category respectively. That is the important sentence that's one there. So then from that information, you can cancel out that one immediately. So now again, without even starting to do anything in Excel, you're already gone from 4 to 3 options. So now you can go, so now we're looking at these two variables. If you take this one here, cool. So working with these two variables then in Excel, I just again copied these over. So then I'm just going to use a pivot chart then to create because I have multiple variables. So then chart, pivot chart, make sure all of my data is selected, existing this, and then, so the one that we wanted is the card category. So we place that one in active categories, and then efficient flag, that one, and then value, pick anyone, anything. But then there was, what I want to mention here, select figure. Oh, okay, cool. Again, also this is where the card category respectively comes in. So we wanted for the card category, so that's our important variable. So that's why we have our card categories on our x-axis there. But they want it for each card category. So we want to see how is it split for this category. So for the blue card category, how many terminated the credit and how many kept the credit. So then if we're looking at this one here, this just adds up all of the people. This one doesn't split it up into how many for the blue, how many kept the credit, how many terminated the credit for the blue, for the gold, and for the silver. So now you need to change the values that you want here. So you need to change your value field settings, and you want to see it as a total of the row columns because you want to see it as for each, you want to split each of the card categories up into 3. So the percentage of clients that cancel their credit account for each card category, that would respectively be very important. So then you can just add your data labels, and then So this one was a bit tricky because if you just did a pivot table and did it like that and ignored kind of each card category respectively, sort of got a bit sketchy there. So then the correct answer is then that one D there, where it all adds up to 100% for each flag variable and the income category variable. What percentage of clients that have an income category of 60 to 80K terminated a credit card account? So again, this should immediately remind you of using your filter because you want to see which one it is. So using those two variables, so you So then you just copy those two variables. Just use the filter, then you just select one and see the ones that is between 60 and 80K. You select them there. Then you just select the entire column there, and it'll show you the count there at the bottom. That's going to be 138. What percentage of clients that have an income category of that terminated account? So then that is then 138. What percentage of that have an income category that terminated the credit card? So we need to filter both of them. So now they have an income category of that, but the ones that terminated the credit represent the restricted column there. Yeah. So just note here you have to do filtering on both of them. What percentage of clients that have an income category between that terminated? So they have to have an income category between that and they have to have terminated. So then it's just both of them there. So then you just select them all. You see that the count at the bottom, that is 120, that is 21 there. But then again, so we have 21 there. So we have 21 people that do with both, but then they ask, what percentage of clients that have an income category terminated? So now we can't say, we can't say 21 divided by 929, that is the total. We just want to look at people that have the income category of 60 to 80%. So we're going to do the 21 divided by the 128. So then the 21 that we both, but then just the income category. So the sample that we work with here is the 138. So how you're going to get that is the 21 that fall into both categories divided by the 128. So just 60, 80K income category. Everyone fine with that one? Right. Filter the data only to include observations of clients that terminated their accounts. We're going to work with that variable. There are 6 customers and that have 3 dependents for dependent counts. What is the standard deviation of the credit limit? Here again, you're going to have to do double filtering for people who terminated the credit and that have dependents on them. So, and then you get the standard deviation of the credit limit. So I'm just going to work in the big deck here, so I just turn on my filter. Then we want, what do we want? The treated customer and 3 dependents. So here's the dependent count. 3 dependents. Just want to see that, and then for the treated customer, we should just select the customer. Then okay. So now we have people that are 3 dependents and that cancel the credit. So now I want to get the standard deviation of the what is the standard deviation of the credit limit of those people. So again, the same thing is the credit limit here. So again, if you want to use the standard deviation.s function, it's going to do the same thing with the average. It's going to select everything and not just the ones that we filtered. So what I suggest is then you just select the column. It doesn't show you the standard deviation there. You just copy it over onto a new sheet there. So then it just, you see that it just gives me those values. It doesn't give me all of them. And then on that, you can then apply the standard deviation.s function. And then launch it there. 8,669.59. So again, if you make sure you scroll to the bottom there and you try to do it just on the bottom right there. Select the column. You see there it's selected again everything from L74 up to L950. That's a much different answer from the one that you just got there. So that is what you can. And then that is your A1